Come on in the room. Come on in the room, honey. Today is going to be, I got a lot of stuff on my chest that I need to get off my chest. And I'm about to get it off here. Give me a second. Trying to decide if I want to hit me a piece of herbs before I go into my recalling and recollecting. Because weed is legal here now. So I can smoke on camera. I don't have to worry about like how you gonna police somebody about smoking on camera when it's legal. Like legit, like in New York it's legal. So explain to me how you could police me about hitting a blunt on live when the stuff is legal. Boo boo. But few things I want to touch on real briefly today. The first one being, and I'm not gonna take real long on this topic, Momma's Boys. I seem to have been attracting a lot of Momma's Boys lately. And it's so crazy, because men be out here talking about, they don't want to be with nobody that's controlling and, nobody that's telling them what to do. Then they leave you to go and end up messing with somebody that is 10 times as controlling as you, 10 times got 10, like checking their phone, not even giving them any space to breathe. And for some reason they live for that. You know what I'm saying? But feel like if you tell them anything, you trying to control them. They super confrontational and just adamant on saying, oh, I don't need no another mama. I don't need you acting like my mama and trying to control me, And then you go and mess with somebody who just pretty much batshit crazy and micromanaging your every move. Somebody who is liable to get, one of their family members to kill you because you used to date a transsexual, or, somebody who jealous and petty like that, who, is really sincerely just about making your life miserable simply because they're insecure with themselves, It always, I always find it ironic, when, females are bisexual and it ain't nothing wrong with them being bisexual. But if he is bisexual, oh my goodness, she could never talk to him. She could never mess with him because he's bisexual. But baby, ain't you bisexual? Ain't you around here chewing on carpets and munching on coochies? So what you saying is it's okay for you to munch on coochie and be bisexual, but it's not okay for him to be bisexual because you're intimidated by that. You're threatened by that. You're insecure. You're not secure in your womanhood. You're not secure in what you bring to the table and what you have to offer. So you're out here making and creating and nurturing these insecure men, that always puzzles me, when females say, oh no, and this is specifically for females who identify as bisexual and then be right here feeling some type of way when he's a bisexual, when he want to get down with the get down, when he want to do a little extra, when he likes to get his panties pulled to the side every now and then you're in your feelings. But yeah, and I don't know, like I think that loyalty to the mother is beautiful because I'm loyal to mine. I mean, I would do anything for my mother, but I'm also still out here trying to carve my own path, through womanhood, trying to chart my own course, trying to be my own version of my foremothers and forefathers woven together, trying to be my own example of that. You feel me? It's a pop for you in the freezer. trying to be my own example of that, right? You know, so ain't that good for you? So I'm out here trying to be my own example. You feel me? And this is why this is a perfect segue into hey, cousin Tisha. This is why this is a perfect segue in to tap in on the whole Saucy Santana situation. You know the comments that Saucy Santana had made when Saucy Santana was doing that doing a show somewhere. Saucy Santana hauled off and said that gays run the world. And, to me, I felt like, he was just saying that to kind of hype people up at Pride and just to be empowering. And I think that, I could agree because people already, feel a little stretched thin when it comes to the topic of Saucy Santana. He's already utilized a lot of the grace that, was available to him with these recent instances involving the comments that he made a long time ago about Blue Ivory. But just to be clear, and just to be, and to be totally honest, Saucy Santana, and someone brought this another gender non-conforming person who could identify as a black gay male, but they also identify with being gender non-conforming. They said to me today that Saucy Santana's viewpoint is based on the world that he lives in, the sphere that he lives in. Like when we think of femininity, a lot of times looking at it through a patriarchal scope, which is still the gay man's perspective, the black gay man in particular, looking at it through his narrow lens, they were taught to see women as objects, to see women as at home cooking and cleaning and being the rib and and the sidekick to the man, and so her biggest thing was to be a trophy, to look like a trophy wife, to be an accessory, to be something to look at, something to behold. And so this is where this idea of being a material girl and being glamorous and all this comes from. But let's be clear that actual females, actual women are capable of more than looking cute. They're capable of more than just having their hair fixed and their nails done and having on a cute outfit and a sickening heel. Like there's more to womanhood than glam. Like there are women who are scientists, who are doctors, who are lawyers. You know what I'm saying? Who are marine biologists? like womanhood, like in a lot of gay men, a lot of gay men and a lot of trans, people do this as well, talking about, women wouldn't be where they are if it wasn't for the gay community and da 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 da. But you're talking about a small slice of the pie, when we think about the accomplishments that women have made. Like there were women prophets who were excluded from the Bible. There were women who were apostles whose stories and testimonies were excluded from the Bible. Like, we know that Jesus came through Mary's bloodline, but they exclude females in the genealogy of Jesus. They only give you the male genealogy. So let's be clear, when the story is being told by a certain group of people, of course they're going to paint a picture that does not nearly begin to encompass everything that the female persuasion and our foremothers have contributed to society. So when you got, so I get the intentions of what Saucy Santana was trying to do, trying to, boost morale and get the kids crunk and get the kids excited, for Pride. But, when you reduce womanhood to wigs and nails and lashes and all of this superficial materialistic stuff, then, you do a great disservice to our foremothers. You do a great disservice to our biologically female ancestors. You do a great disservice to their work that is really pushing us ever forward. Just because you came along and you extended the lash and you perfected the lace front wig and honey and all of these superficial, all this superficial drag that we put on, to make ourselves seem important in society. Because most times, the glam is really about covering up these inadequacies that you feel for other reasons, honey. There was a time when women couldn't do anything but focus on their look because that's what their purpose was to look cute. You know what I'm saying? They were to be seen and not heard, kind of like how we treat children. Children are to be seen and not heard. Well, that was the same thing from women. Time in times past. So of course, women focused on their look because their look was the way they communicated, because they were to be seen and not heard. But we're not living in those times no more. And so you running around here thinking that somehow y'all doing something. Black women wouldn't be nothing without gay men. Like, this is just that whole conversation is ludicrous for me, because at the end of the day, our foremothers are the blueprint. They are the blueprint for everything that comes from it. And the reason why this is able to be taken to the next steps is because that's what evolution looks like. We come from the mother and the father. To get into this scientifically, feminine energy, and the egg that is inside of our, that the women have inside of their body, or XXs have inside of their bodies, because I don't want to erase trans men, but the egg contributes so much more genetic material. And so, when you're tapping into all of that creativity and all those ideas, you're tapping into that feminine energy. You're tapping into something that is bigger than anything physical, And so, I don't know, like I was watching TGIF with Funky Dineva, because that's really pretty much the only platform I could digest Funky Dineva on. Like, I can't watch Funky Dineva straight on his platform. I have to see him balanced with some, biological XX energy. I have to see him balanced with that in order for me to be able to digest him, because I feel like he try it when he don't have, that energy present to hold him accountable. I feel like he get a little besides himself, but I can digest him. Hey, Robin. Hey, Letitia. I feel like I could digest him when he's, when he kind of has that balance of energy inside of him. But him and Alan tried it, they were low key, like you saw the little bit of the alliance going, and gay men have come along and, they've taken certain things to the next level. But this conversation is always so murky for me, because every time they have this conversation, somehow trans gets lost in, trans actually gets lost in translation. So you have gay men taking credit for stuff that a lot of times trans women, really took to the next level. Like, you have, because a lot of times gay men are learning these things from a woman in some form, whether she's cis or trans. They're borrowing this from some form, because like all like when we think of hair and makeup and all of that, like, what gave you the courage to start playing in makeup? Like, what gave you, like whose hair did you practice on? Like where were you practicing? Like, where were you practicing these gifts? Were you practicing on your trans sister? Were you practicing on your biological sister? Because if you're presenting as a man all the time, then clearly you're not practicing on yourself. So where did you get these ideas from? Where did these notions come from in your head to do these things? And like, this is not a conversation that gay men have. It's like the ego keeps them from really playing the whole tape. You know, like play the whole tape. Like you're around here presenting as a man 24 hours a day, but yet you found a way to master the art of doing hair and makeup and doing nails and stuff. Well, you had to practice on somebody. You had to learn from somebody, because it was certainly not being taught to you if you were being groomed to be a man. You wasn't learning it from other men in your life if you were being groomed to be a man. So what spaces and places welcomed you to allow you to even get the foundation to flourish in that type of work? They wasn't teaching you that at Boy Scouts. They wasn't teaching you that on camping trips. They wasn't teaching you that at the weenie roasting and football camp. Where were you able to develop and refine these skills? In what spaces were you able to achieve this originally, before there were gay clubs? Before it was pride and all that? Like, where were you able to cultivate these gifts? Who protected you and made a safe space for you to be able to do that? And so that's not the conversation we're having. That's not the conversation that I'm hearing. And that shit bothers me. It bothers me. You know, hey, Lucy, how you doing? I remember being told that as a little girl. So, yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much the gist of what I have on the Saucy Santana issue. I'm just kind of like moving through these topics really fast. So recently, someone who I thought was very close to me decided that they wanted to fall out with me for the 99th time. And the reason why I made the video that I made the other day was really it happened that day. The argument happened that day. And I'm going to do them the same service that I did for the daughter. I'm not going to say their name in this video, but if you know me, then you'll know who I'm talking about. So anyway, I did a video that touched a little bit on this, and I kind of airbrushed it because I was trying to spare her feelings during that time. And I'm still going to be respectful this time, because it's just, I'm too old to be sitting up here, you know, dragging people into the ground and being hurtful towards people. However, I am not above being frank, you know, and see, that's what's wrong with a lot of Black people, in my opinion, is that a lot of y'all are too tender-footed. You know, a lot of you have become tenderfoots. You've become too soft. You can't handle someone saying something to you because you have not dealt with the trauma, the traumatic things that have been said to you in the past. You haven't been doing that work to heal. You just been constantly numbing yourself, getting high, getting full, getting drunk. You go to work, you give 8 to 10 hours to mass up on the plantation. Then you come home and you check out. You don't do any internal work. You don't do any emotional work. You don't do any type of spiritual work. So the first time someone says something that challenges you in community, the first time someone holds your foot to the fire, the first time someone says something to you that is not politically correct or approved by everybody else, then all of a sudden it's a problem. It's a big problem. And it shows that you have not been doing work. And sweetheart, you checking out of the friendship, checking out of the relationship, it is not courageous. It is cowardice. It is cowardice. I will not follow someone who overreacts and does not have the courage to say, you know what, I overreacted. Because I don't always get it right. I have been wrong many times. But the one thing that you can find if you go back through my videos, if you go back through anything that I've said and comments that I've made, you will see my growth and my evolution and how I've changed. And I can come back and hold myself accountable. I can come back and say, I did not deal with this properly. I did not exercise the correct amount of grace in this particular situation. I missed the mark. I did not make the bullseye that particular time. It's a lot of y'all who have a problem with holding yourself accountable and being held accountable. You don't want to hear that. You want to go in, bust your ass for Massam, give him everything, give it all you got, give it all you got, get up on, give it all you got, give it all you got. You want to go on the plantation and you want to give everything to Massa. Then when it comes time to have a difficult conversation with your friend, you ain't got nothing left. You just want to get high. You just want to get drunk. You just want to get full. You just want to be numb. You don't have no patience for your own community, but you got all the time in the world for Massam. Because Massam signing them checks. Because Massa got a check with your name on it. So you got all the time in the world to grin in Massa face and to tap dance for him. But when it comes to your sister and your brother and your cousin and your aunties and uncles, your grace is tapped out. You want to yell at them, talk to them crazy, dismiss them, handle them, fall out with them because they're being honest with you. They ain't being PC and politically correct with you. They keeping it a buck with you. They keeping it on the beam with you. And you're bothered by that because you would rather be able to continue on being fake like you are, calling it professional when it's really performance on the clock. You know how to, you know fake. You know how to do fake. You done fake so long, you don't know how to do real. You've been fake for so long, you done forgot how to be real. You done politicked as a false identity, as a false fictitious character for so long, you don't know how to be real anymore. So the person that I was talking to, thank you, cousin. So the person that I was talking about, so we were friends. We've been friends over 2 decades. I mean, like at one time we were so close. Now, she did a lot of shady stuff to me back in the day that I never took for shade because I don't look for shade. I don't go into a situation looking for shade. But other people was telling me on the side, you know, I don't like the way she did that. Like for example, we was all selling skanks back in the G, right? You know, selling. So it's been over 20 years, so I could talk about it, and I can't get into no legal trouble because it's been over 20 years. But we was selling coke in the strip club I used to dance at night. P Valley ain't got nothing on Papa Joe's female impersonators. Whenever y'all ready to get out your feelings, and I'm giving this to people who may watch this video who have disposable income, who ready to get wealthy and be able to sleep at night. Boo, I got a wealth of stories. I could write, I could act, I could dance, I could hold a note, I could direct, I could bring people together, I could story tell. Child, we could tell a story that will rival P Valley, that will have P Valley taking notes, baby, whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready, hit me up. Inbox me. All I need is the money and the support. And we could tell this Papa Joe story, and we gonna tell it in a way that's real. We not gonna whitewash it. We gonna tell it. We gonna represent Louisiana. We gonna represent New Orleans. We gonna represent. We gonna tell the story. But I'm about to tell a little chunk of that story now. So anyway, back in the G, when I was like 20 years old, I met her, saw her. We always had like this magical chemistry when we get around each other. You know, people would just be so into us that, you know, people would just give us stuff free. We get over on our, you know, on our I remember one time they was about to cut off the lights because we was living together in a trailer out on Airline Highway. They was getting ready to cut our lights off. And when the man came to the house to cut the lights off, the man, we answered the door, and both of us had on our little negligees, and, you know, we had our little weaves together, honey, and we sat at the door, and, you know, she's red bone, and I'm giving you chocolate, honey, and we shoulder to shoulder at the door, looking at the man, just enchanting him. You know, we some young girls at the time, honey. We're in our early 20s, honey. So we razzling and dazzling his ass. Child, we talked him into leaving our lights on until we was able to pay the bill. We did this in everything. We used to call ourselves the Did That Chicks. That was our motto. We together, we could hustle anybody out of anything. I remember one time we was at this hotel with this man. He thought we was both biologically female. When he found out we wasn't, he was going to give us $1,000 a piece. But because he found out we wasn't, he didn't want to do anything physical with us. So he literally paid us $500 a piece just to lay across the bed in our underwear and eat strawberries and drink motherfucking Moet. Like literally, that's all we had to do was just lay in the bed, eat strawberries and drink Moet, you know, and he paid us $500 a piece to do that in a 5-star hotel. So things like this were always happening with me and her. Every time we get together, still to this day, we make motherfucking magic together, period. So I'll never take that from her. But there was some shady things that she did. Even before that I always let slide because I was so crazy about her. So I'm selling coke in the club to the girls. I got it tied. I got the club locked up. My bags is legal. Nobody can say my bags was too small. Nobody can say that I didn't have quality product. That's one of the reasons why I started doing it, because I was tired of getting cut stuff. I was tired of getting stepped on stuff. I wanted quality stuff, and I wanted it to be, you know, and they'll always be trying to sell you 20 bags, you know, and it'll be stepped on. So I started going in the hood, getting dime bags and bringing them to work and selling them for 10 because it was the same thing. You know, once they stepped on the stuff, it was pretty much the same product, you know. So and the 20 bags in the 20 bags in the projects, the dime bags in the projects looked at like 20 bags in the French Quarters. So I would go and get dime bags from the French Quarters and bring them to work and sell them for $20 because I'm going through the trouble of getting it. So I'm putting my life, you know, putting myself in danger, at risk, going to get the product. I should get some type of profit. So when I first did it, the first venture, I think I went and got like 8 dime bags. So I sold them for $20 and then I made $160. Then I went back. That's when I started understanding 8 balls, because I went back and got an 8 ball because I didn't know what an 8 ball was. I was like, I don't want the baggies no more. Give me, you know, what comes after this, you know, when we start looking at weight. And so I think it was like an 8th or something like that, but I didn't want no 8th. I wanted to get an 8 ball. So then that's when I started learning about 8 balls and quarters. Now, mind you, not soon after I started doing that, here she come selling coke. now she's selling coke. But instead of getting mad at her and viewing what she did as shady, even though other people would have, I teamed up with her. So we started doing it together. But that could have been where we fell out right there, because this is already my territory. This is how we look at this in the drug game. If somebody already selling here, and you come here and you start selling here too, you're stepping on my territory. That's how people look at it in the streets. But I never looked at it like that. I never got mad at her. We worked together. We became fast friends, made us even closer. Now, during this time period, like not soon after me and her got close, I was in a relationship with this guy who was light skinned, and he was a Libra. And it was so funny because I was dark skinned and I was a Gemini. And that's how her and her boyfriend was. Her boyfriend was dark skinned and he was a Gemini. And she was light skinned and she was a Libra. So that was so cute. Like when we used to all be together, it was the two brown skinned or dark skinned Geminis, and it was the two light skinned Libras. So like we just thought we thought we was the it couples because it just looked so cute together, right? And we was all younger. Of course, I had my sex change, I had my orchiectomy, so I've been able to maintain a lot of my fishiness, or perceivable fishiness, because of the procedures, because of my sacrifices. I was able to stop, Father Time from, really just stepping in and saying, man up, here you go, hit him with the he, hit him with the how, you know what I'm saying? So I was able to avoid a lot of that because of the choices that I made in my transition. I didn't go for, cosmetic procedures. I went more so for changing biology. Like, when I say changing biology, I'm not talking about implanted ovaries and fallopian tubes. I'm talking about removing some of the things that made me function, whatever was in opposition to me just really being able to step into how I saw myself. I sacrificed that. Girl, you got to go. You got to go. I can't use you right now. Can't use you in this season. So needless to say, me and her aged differently. And I told my daughter this. I told my daughter Pernisha this. When I asked her when she was younger, I said, when I asked her, does she want to have an orchiectomy? I said, do you want to age as a man or do you want to age as a woman? That's what I asked her. I said, do you want to age as a man or do you want to age as a woman? And she said, I want to age as a woman. So she had her orchiectomy. And that is how she's aging. She looks more feminine as she gets older and not less feminine. Whereas right now, if she would not have done that, she would look totally different right now. Because, a lot of girls, they stop taking hormones and then you're fully functional. You haven't had any procedures to make you look softer. So you're not moaning. You busting nuts all the time in people booty. You ain't taking no hormones. You manufacturing testosterone because when you have sex, your body produces the testosterone. And so you're producing, that's why the girls used to tell you, if you're taking hormones, you can't be running around here jumping up and down in these men's booty holes because it's counterproductive. Like even when you're moaning, they used to tell us, the old wives tale, the girls used to say, you wasting your hormones if you jumping up and down and trade cookies, because your body starts producing extra testosterone when your nutsack get full. So anyway, but back in the day, I mean, this girl, she was beautiful. I mean, washed face, she was beautiful. So she was a beautiful girl. She was naturally beautiful. From the day I first saw her, she was beautiful. But she has aged differently because, of choices that she has made. you know. And what is wrong with saying that? Like, if you're comfortable with who you are and you have accepted who you are, what is wrong with acknowledging you aged differently because of choices that you made? You know, so if me and you get into a reading session and you say something that pissed me off, and then I tell you something that has to do with your look, I tell you your look is dramatic because you still have to do certain things to give the look that you want to give because you weren't willing to sacrifice so you could have a certain look without. Because see, understand that even when we're dealing with male pattern baldness, for those of us who bald at a certain age, um, I think testosterone can be responsible for male pattern baldness. That's why you notice when girls take their hormones regularly, those girls don't bald like that. Those girls don't go bald. When girls get orchiectomies and when girls get castrations, those girls don't start going bald because male pattern baldness is not gonna, it doesn't come because those girls have made sacrifices. And so when you choose not to make certain sacrifices, then you get to enjoy certain privileges that girls who made those sacrifices cannot enjoy. You know, just like I have to take a testosterone shot or half a testosterone shot if I want to get off a good orgasm. You know what I'm saying? I'll still get one, but it's not going to be as powerful as it would be if, you know, I take a little bit of testosterone, and it also gives me added energy. So, you know, there are pros and cons to being pre-op and post-op. Okay, there are pros and cons, and I can accept the reality for the choices that I made. I'm not gonna get upset if a girl in her feelings and she call herself reading me and say, "Oh, you mutilated your sex organs. You mutilated some healthy sexual organs, and your pussy don't work. You can't have no children anyway." I don't know what you like. Girls have said that to me before, and now I'm to the point to where it doesn't faze me at all. But you know, you girls out here still getting offended when we play the other side of that tape for y'all and talk about have you danced in a club being post-op? Yeah, I've danced at female strip clubs before. I danced at female strip clubs when I was pre-op, you know, so I mean, because we had a whole community of doing that, you know, in New Orleans. But anyway, so back to the story. So me and her was super close. I was super young at the time. I'm not gonna make excuses for what I did, but I am gonna give you a little backstory on me. When I was coming up, girls, when I'm saying girls in this scenario, I'm talking about trans women, but let's be clear, females have done it to me too. When I was younger, my friends, my closest friends, there was no respect when it came to boys. If it was a boy that I was having that wanted me, and one of my girlfriends wanted to have him because it was so scarce for us. You know, trade was scarce. You know, it was scarce. We had to do a lot of sharing. First of all, we had to share with the biological females. Then we had to share with each other. Then, because we wasn't really the same thing as the gay men, you know, they're trying to get in where they fit in. Some of them want the straight men too. So you got gay men, trans women, and biological female all fighting over dick. So there was no, when it came to a piece of dick, everybody everybody was, you know, it was like, child, you'll be all right, child, I'm about to get some of this dick. Like, dick was, it was gold back in the day. Like, it was really important. Like, dick really was an accomplishment. Like, if you could have this boy, you just really, really thought you was the shit because you had him, because he wanted you. So, you know, and you wanted him. And so there was no loyalty, at least in the parts where I grew up at. Like, I can't speak for what went on in New York. I can't speak for what the girls did in Texas. I can't speak for what the girls did in other parts of the country. But I grew up at, there was no honor amongst thieves. There was no loyalty. If a dude wanted you, it didn't matter who loved him or who cared about him. If he was willing to give that other person some sex, everybody was going to get some. And they called it common community trade. Okay. So, and for a long time, because of what the church told us and what the church taught us, we believed we was going to hell. We believed it wasn't right. We believed it was bad. So we didn't really think we deserved healthy relationships. We didn't think we deserved to be with somebody who was going to sincerely love us, sincerely. Like, we didn't think we deserved that type of stuff. So we thought it was all about, debauchery and sin and salaciousness and vulgarity and all of these things that, have no value, merit, or integrity. That's how we approached it. So, when I would get in relationships with boys, it didn't matter. I remember my first love, I had to share him with my best friend, and I had to share him with my mentor. Like, my best friend snuck and had him behind my back, and my mentor snuck and had him behind my back. So well, she didn't sneak and have him behind my back. I'm lying. She kept having him behind my back. I actually set her up with him the first time with my dumb ass, because I was just trying to make sure he kept doing it. I didn't know he was going to get attached to her, because, of course, you get feelings for your first time having this experience. So, and that created odds between me and her. But that's my backstory. So, moving on, most of my mentors and people who were supposed to teach me, I remember one of my other mentors, she told me, because I had this one dude, God got us rest his soul because he passed away. I had this one dude, I was crazy about him. And my mentor at the time, she was like, I'm going to show you how he's supposed to treat you. I'm going to show you what he's supposed to do for you. And so she had him. She took him from me and made him her man. So a little bit down the road, he started beating her ass, and mistreating her, and she had to come by my house. You know what I'm saying? And I had to give her a place to stay when she was running from the abuse. So, not too much, because you wore me out, but then it came back and it bit you on your ass. But anyway, this shaped my view of how relationships went between gay people, trans people, and boys who are attracted to trans people, or men who are attracted to trans people. This shaped my view. And so even though I wanted to believe in love, and I wanted to believe I could be happy, and I wanted to believe that I could have a healthy relationship, let's be clear, I was still in my early 20s. I hadn't turned 26 yet, which is when you get your critical thinking matter, which allows you to make critical decisions. I know I didn't have my critical thinking matter yet, because the same year that I tested positive was the year that I got my critical thinking matter. That was at 26. So this stuff that happened between me and this girl, it happened before I was able to think critically with a fully developed brain as an adult. Okay? I was still becoming an adult with a fully developed brain. Okay? So anyway, her boyfriend and I were super, 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 super close. Oh, we were super, super close. I mean, like, we had been in each other's lives for 3 years. And I'm not gonna lie, I'd always found him attractive, and I didn't pick no bones about that. I told her that. I told her when she first met him, I said, if you don't want him, I'll take him. And so I was always attracted to him, but I never acted on the attraction because I loved her. I had so much respect for her. I couldn't imagine hurting her in that way because me and her was so close. But as our relationship continued, um, you know, I didn't look at her the same way that I looked at her, when we first got together. And a lot of things I taught her came back and bit me on my ass because, I started teaching her, about her capability being light skinned, and in New Orleans, the Creole city, light skinned people are capable of doing so much. So, I used to encourage her to wear blonde hair and encourage her to wear contacts and encourage her, to just really, really play off her light skin. And later on, this will come back to haunt me and bite me on my ass because she started using her light skin privilege to do things to me that were cruel when what happened. So anyway, I was always the eyeball out. A lot of the girls in New Orleans just didn't see it for me, and I think it was because I've always been, a worthy rival. I've always been a formidable rival. I've always been healthy competition. A girl is not just fin to stunt all over me and shine all over me. I've always been very talented, very creative, always had my own mind, always was able to speak it, have always been talented. And so a lot of girls are intimidated about it, sexy, have body. A lot of girls are intimidated by it. And so there was no shortage of girls who were threatened by me and who were intimidated by me. Not to mention I was popular because I sold drugs and I always had an entourage of girls around me before I got strung out on this crack and got diagnosed with the nothingness. I was one of those girls. So even though me and her was close, there was always an entourage of negativity in her ear. There were always girls who was hating on me in her ear. And she hung with girls who did not like me. She hung with girls who could not stand me. Like that was, and I've always thought that she was political because she was able to do that. But now, I'm getting to the point to where I have to question the whole thing. Are you the traitor? Are you just a traitor? Like, but she always hung around people who could not stand me. And so once I made a mistake that multiple of the people that she hung around had already made, because I wasn't the only one who had a man. I wasn't the only one who had her boyfriend. I was just the only one who kept him after I had him. And that was the problem. It wasn't that I had him. It was that he stayed after I had him. It was that she had to come get him. It wasn't that I had him because other girls who granted her face and had him and she was still cool with them. But it was that you had to come get him. And this is the gag. Before I had him, I came to work and I told her, because she knew I was vulnerable. She knew that I was waiting on test results. She knew that my boyfriend had just left me, came home from prison and left me to go run behind some of the girls. So she knew I was vulnerable. And I really felt like I kind of needed her. But at that time, she was out chasing, she was out chasing her high. And I always blamed myself for that because I was the one who gave her first bump. We was at a date house and we was turning a date and I didn't know it was going to become what it became for her because she fell in love with cocaine. I mean, when she tried it, when she actually did it, oh my goodness, that girl fell in love with it. She was she was her Tanny, and it became a priority in her life. I did that, and then went on and did crack, and did a bunch of other stuff, honey. But cocaine has always been the staple for this girl. Like, this girl, I mean, she loved her some good cocaine. So anyway, I always kind of like faulted myself for giving her a bump, but it was done to me. Like, we were young. Like, I wasn't even 25. I wasn't even 20. I was in my early 20s. Like, I ain't know what the fuck I was doing. Um, but I still, looking back on that, I always tried to be patient, because when she went off the deep end with coke and it really became like a serious thing for her, and she really started using heavy like that, I kind of blamed myself. I was like, well, damn, maybe, she doing all of this because, if she wouldn't have started on the cocaine, she wouldn't be like this. Maybe, so, I was punishing myself for that, and I was letting her get away with all of the things that she was doing that I felt like was neglecting our friendship, that wasn't being supportive, that wasn't being there for me. I was making excuses for her because I introduced her to cocaine. So I continue to make space. But let me tell you something. In that environment, if I wouldn't have gave her a bump, somebody else was gonna give her a bump, because everybody was doing it. Like, we all, like, it was maybe two girls that danced in our club that was not snorting cocaine. Everybody. So I think it was better for somebody who actually gave a fuck about her to give her a bump than for me. It was better for me to be the one to give it to her than somebody else out there. And they could have gave her some rat poison that had her breathing out a straw or some shit. But I always kind of like faulted myself. So anyway, hey, Rima. But yeah, so when I so fast forward, my ex then came home from jail and left me, and her ex is always by my house crying over her, crying. So we both crying over our partners. I'm crying over my partner, he crying over his. He was really trying to sleep with a girl who was like my daughter during the time. God got us rest her soul, because she's passed away too from a drug overdose. But he was really trying to sleep with her because he wanted a young girl that was gonna make her jealous. So he was really trying to get somebody he could mold. He wanted to make her jealous. But she didn't go for it. And the reason why she didn't go for it wasn't because she had so much love and respect for Jasmine. Wasn't because she had so much love and respect for this person. Wasn't because she had so much love and respect for this person. Was because, well, there was one name slip up. But anyway, y'all will be all right. It wasn't because she had so much love and respect for this person. She did not have sex with him because she was into white boys at the time. She wanted a white boy. She didn't want nobody with no color. And he was this color. She didn't want that. So I never forget, I went to work. I told her what happened. I told her the whole story. I explained to her what I said. Look, I said, come get your man, because everybody was shooing and gossiping. And I never forget what she told me. She said, oh, y'all probably done already had sex already. She said, I wouldn't be surprised if y'all done had sex already. Like, she was unbothered, like she didn't care. So I thought it was the green light. So, Chael, that night I think we got full and we had, and I told him, I said, you need to tell her, because if you're going to be continually grinning in her face, you need to tell her. And if you don't tell her, I'm going to tell her. So a week went by, he still hadn't told her. She hit that night. turned a fire date and gave me $200 and we got full together. And the shit was so pure. It was so pure. It was so amazing. Back then, you couldn't help but tell the truth. Like you just told the truth. Like you were just, like cocaine back in the day was a truth serum. You hit that coke and you just go to telling all your business. So I hit that coke and I told her what happened. And we was watching Deliver Us from Evil. That was our favorite movie. And we fell asleep. And when we woke up, she had to called him over to the hotel, got a hotel room with him, sodomized him, I'm sure, because she's infamous for that. Sodomized the shit out of him, and then brought him to my room and told me, you two belong together. Told me you two belong together, and left him